Hey, what's going on, y'all? We are here with the night before weigh-in preview. We're doing things a little bit later than typical. We've gotten the weigh-ins in the books for Aries Fight Series 6. It goes down tomorrow night from the Camp Jordan Arena in East Ridge, Tennessee, right outside Chattanooga. You can catch the pay-per-view at Spectation Sports. You can get your tickets still at fighterticksforthenext.com. And then, of course, you can get your wagers in at Action 24/7 on the pro fights. Use promo code Aries. You get a 50% match bonus up to $400 whenever you deposit at Action 24/7. Guys, we've caught the weigh-ins. The face-offs have gone down. If you're going to catch those, you can go to our Facebook page, actually, and watch the face-offs from the night. A lot of really good-looking fights. This is one of these cards we're proud of it. It's from top to bottom. You've got some really nice matchups. We're gonna go through all of them for you here with our crew. We got Torres Finney, we got Greg Hopkins, Justin Watson pulling double duty tomorrow, Jeff Hobbs, myself, Tim Lloyd, Sarah's behind the camera. Let's get it going, guys. Justin will kind of run through the card and he'll throw it to us, and we'll break this bad boy down.
All right, getting us started. The first bout of the night is a grappling tag team bout. Yours truly, Justin Watson and Corey Hansen, Charlotte, North Carolina, taking on Dalton and Hayden Smith out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is a 350-pound combined weight tag team match.
And technically, the names of the teams.
Oh,
We've got Team Boats and Hose. That's the North Carolina contingent, and then of course Team Bang Bros from Agogi.
I don't understand that reference though.
I don't understand
that.
Bunch of bros.
I've never heard that.
Greg, what do you expect to see in this one?
Right, I just want to go off and state that this was the best face-off I've ever seen with the pictures we have, because the actual you guys are the
Boats and Hose.
The Boats and Hose had beers. Both of them had beers in their hands, while the Bang Bros were just kind of like, they were kind of off the wind out of a Agogi right there. But regardless of the situation right there of the face-off, this is going to be it's a much I wouldn't say the highest, but it's a much higher caliber of jiu-jitsu displayed from these guys right here, because they are all seasoned. They've been there, and it's a tag team match, so they can literally
It's a high level.
Yeah, I didn't say the highest level. I said it's higher. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Justin's the highest. Justin's the highest level. But everybody else kind of lower the level amount.
Justin stays the highest.
Yeah, he stays the highest. But with that being said, okay, this is a 10-minute match. The draw is still on the board. You got to win 3 times the actual win. And here's the thing: you can double team you're with your tag partner for what, 4 seconds?
5 seconds.
5 seconds there.
Wow.
So I would love to change those rules one day and have some slap grappling in there. But anyways, right now we're not going to go to that. We're going to work towards that, right? But I don't know, man. This could end in a draw. This, like I said, this is a higher caliber with guys with jiu-jitsu. Y'all sit me next to this motherfucker right here, and I've got to make a pick. And I got my home team of Agogi facing one of my homeboys right here. I just got to go with the.
You don't have to pick, Gray.
Well, I'm not going to pick. I'm going to say it's going to be a draw, but it's going to be a hell of a fight. I just can't wait to see what kind of scallywaggish shit he does to the Smiths and tries to jump on them and stuff. I just can't wait.
So just to enter, I mean, this is kind of, I guess, up to you guys, but we kind of talked about it with them. If we go to a draw, we were going to do EBI.
I'm sorry, rock, paper, scissors.
That's cool. So we have a winner.
Yeah.
So we have a winner.
Winner.
So we have a definite winner.
There you go.
In that one. All right, next up we have a super heavyweights 265-pound Muay Thai bout. Sean Morgan making his debut out of Hobbs Jackson Lincoln, Concord, North Carolina, taking on Curtis Bailey making his debut out of Phoenix MMA in Hermitage, Tennessee. Obviously don't know much about Curtis Bailey. We've never seen him before. This is his debut, but Sean Morgan is a guy that I've trained with quite a bit. Big, super athletic guy. He's gonna surprise a lot of people with his quickness, I think. This is gonna be a hell of a fight. Obviously, it's super heavyweight, so they're gonna be in there. They're gonna be in there throwing. Somebody's probably going to sleep.
What's the total weight?
600 pounds. We're over 600 pounds.
This one's 600 something. The last one, y'all's total combined weight for the grappling match was
just barely.
Yeah, so Sean weighed in at 343.
Great.
Our opponents weighed in at 344. No. I'm sorry. Our opponents weighed in at 342.
Yeah.
So that's
awesome.
Than both
so there you go.
Hey, he reminds me of Chris Barnett.
His and his style will too.
And I was about to say, from listening to you talk, it sounds like his style sounds like like we may see a Sean Morgan cartwheel at some point.
It's very likely, man. This is a guy that if he does well, he can definitely make some waves. But Curtis Bailey is not here to let Sean take this one away. So
He's a big
this,
boy.
there's two big boys that are gonna be throwing leather. So somebody's probably going to sleep in this one.
You know for a fact that both of these guys play football.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
you can see it.
guarantee
Yeah,
it.
you can see it.
Not much doubt.
Both big boys, but big in a different way. Where one is more compact and heavy, the other one is
Large
he may
body.
have weighed a lot less than
But
Morgan,
he's
but he's
big.
tall.
Yes.
Large
Yeah.
body.
Very tall,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a tall guy, so the weight is distributed different. These are big boys. I don't know. We need to call Monster Cage.
See if this thing is
what the weight
strong
capacity
enough,
was. And I'm afraid our fences are
Yeah.
going to
Starting the
bubble.
knot out with two 700-pound fights.
Tell the camera off to hang on.
When Zane and Trishan bent the cage in their fight, imagine what these guys
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
One of them
Yeah.
fall.
Aries,
Oh Lord.
Luckily, there won't be too much grappling in this one. All Muay Thai. There'd be a lot of banging though.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that's what we look for out of these guys. Next up, we have lightweights, 155 pounds MMA. Troy Williams making his debut out of Hobbs Jackson Wink in North Carolina, Concord, North Carolina, taking on George Carpenter, making his debut out of Militia MMA in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Again, Troy, another guy that I've trained with quite a bit. Don't know a lot about Carpenter. I guess Militia's been here in Chattanooga for a little while, so he's gonna be the hometown guy. I think he's a collegiate wrestler from what I hear, so it's gonna be a lot to handle for Troy. This guy wrestled at Penn State and UTC as well, I believe. Yeah, UTC, it is what it is, but Penn State, that's a pretty big deal. So yeah, Troy's gonna have his work cut out for him. He's gonna have to keep it on the feet, but Troy's a very dynamic striker. If he can keep it on the feet, it's gonna be tough for George. But man, this is a stylistic matchup if we have one on this card for sure.
I think that this is one of those fights where I can tell you because I'm the matchmaker, but neither of these are two debuts that nobody wants to fight.
Yeah.
These are two 0-0 guys that I really struggle to get anyone else to fight them, even though they never fought before, because they're beasts.
Yeah.
Torres, you're familiar with George, of course. Wrestling here at UTC, trained by Tom Galicchio over at Militia MMA. He'll technically be the first fighter to ever come out of Militia on this card. So I'm excited for this one, really. We know Troy's a beast. We saw him at the Joe about a year ago. The guy that he's supposed to fight shows up, faces off, and then once he saw Troy, he didn't show back up the next
Never
day.
showed up again.
So Troy's looking forward to making that debut for sure.
I remember that.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm excited to see what George do, man. George, he wrestled at Penn State. I think he wrestled there for a year and a half. Then he transferred to UTC. Did some good things here at UTC, and now you see him at Militia. He's come here at Agoge a few times, and he was helping Logan a little bit in one of his training camps. So I haven't had the opportunity to roll with George yet, but I've seen George a lot, and he's a really good wrestler. So it is a stylistic matchup. I'm excited to see how that plays out.
It's gonna be a hell of a fight to start out the actual prelims there. Next up, we have middleweights, 185 pounds. Miles Delaney, a debut out of American Top Team Lima in Atlanta, Georgia, taking on Josh Booker, 1-0 out of Agoge Combatives in Chattanooga, North Carolina. Tim, what do you think about this one?
Our 185 division we talked about before is starting to grow. You've got Dillahunty out of the ATT Lima group. He's a debut, but at weigh-ins, he looked like he's put together. He looked like he's in great shape, very athletic. So I'm excited to see what he can do. We've seen Josh Booker make his debut at 205, so he'll be coming down at 185. Looked in great shape, tall, long guy with wrestling background as well. And I look for the winner of this to insert themselves into that picture for the 185 strap. You got Jacob Adams, Andrew Havener. You got some good guys out there that are kind of starting to work their way towards the top, and I think the winner of this one will certainly fit into that picture.
And Josh Booker looked real good at ceremonial weigh-ins.
He did.
He did.
Oh, no,
Oh, wait,
in
no, I'm
this
sorry,
action.
Josh.
Sorry,
You were
Josh.
busy.
Josh had
How's it work?
But
Josh
yeah.
Booker though is actually in the runnings. I think with who all we got in that run there. We got Havener's making his.
No, Adams. Those guys are at the top, and then you've got other guys like
Corey Farmer.
Tristan Scarborough coming from over there. There's
So this
pretty good
mix is
five.
getting pretty deep.
Not to throw put. He probably want to announce himself, but eventually Zane Burton said he wants to get 85.
Oh, that'll certainly be in the mix too.
It'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah. 85 is one of those divisions where historically it's been kind of shallow, but it's starting to come up.
Yeah, it's just nice having these middleweights come up in here.
All right, next up for our fifth bout, we have featherweights, 145-pound MMA. Sebastian Grant, 4-8 out of St. Louis, Missouri, taking on Dustin Garrett, 4-4 with 1 no contest out of DC Combat in Murphy, North Carolina. Jeff, what do you see here?
Well, I mean, what we do know is Dustin Garrett, who is he is the gamer for Aries. Hell, he's a gamer for everybody. When you need a spot filled, Dustin fills in. And he's not your average fill-in. Like, he is a solid outing for, anybody. And so we know Dustin's going to be a grinder. We don't know a lot about Sebastian Grant. He's coming from St. Louis, Missouri, but I have talked to really one promoter in particular in Missouri a lot about him. And he says, Sebastian, one, is a confident dude. He said, you're not going to shake him. He thinks, even with 8 losses, he thinks that he is going to win and should win every fight that he's in, and he carries himself that way. Said he's a super athlete type guy, but he's a killer be killed type of guy too. Die on my sword kind of thing. So it should make for an exciting fight. We know Dustin's a grinder, a grappler. He wants to get it to the ground. So not knowing Sebastian's background, I don't know if he's going to have what it takes to nullify that, but it sounds like Sebastian, definitely talking from other promoters in Missouri, wants to keep it standing. So you've got that clash of styles immediately out the gate. So this one is intriguing just because you have that unknown. We have unknowns earlier that you guys have talked about, but we've at least known their gym. We've at least known who their training partners are and such. We have an unknown fighter from an unknown gym out of an unknown state, because we don't usually get a lot of guys from Missouri. So it's really a crapshoot right now on what we're going to get. But guy rolled in here today, ready for weigh-ins, and acted like he'd been here before and was, like this was his, deal. So I don't know. I'm excited. Dustin Garrett, like I said, we know what we get with him. So this could be an interesting.
It is, yeah. Both guys got 4 wins. I mean, and then you look at Sebastian. He's
just more active.
Yeah, he's got as many losses as he's got total fights
right
here. So I mean,
right.
You're looking at experience over experience.
You got a guy with 4 wins over here, 4 wins over here.
20 total fights of experience between those two guys.
Yeah.
So should be some action in that.
That's a ton of experience for an amateur fight.
Oh yeah. At the end of the day, you got a 12 fighter over here and a 9 over here. So I mean, geez, come on.
Next up, we have heavyweights. 265-pound MMA, Tyrone Hilson, debut out of Matrix MMA in Greensboro, North Carolina, taking on Josh Mackey, a debut out of Militia MMA in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Torres, you know anything about either one of these guys?
Yes, I remember Josh Mackey. We had an in-house tournament one time. Brought a lot of different teams from around the area, and Josh Mackey was one of the guys that made it to the finals in one of the brackets. He went against our own Dalton Smith, and it was really good, man. Dalton got the edge, but he was young. He had only been training jiu-jitsu for like 3 months, and obviously you can see that he had some type of grappling experience. He wrestled at King's College, and man, the guy is a monster. He's really explosive for his size. He got really good throws. You might see a big guy flying, man. So he got some good throws. I'm excited to see, him training at the gym with Tom at Militia. He has a lot of good guys. I think Tom probably varies to a lot of different wrestlers. I think that style is very similar to what Josh was going to be acquainted to anyway. So I'm excited to see. I see his opponent, Hilson, Tyrone Hilson. He trains at the same gym as I believe DeWitt Dixon.
So they got their teammates.
So they got a few guys on his card already. So
tall,
I'm sure,
long guy.
Tall, long guy.
Same weight.
Same exact weight. Like one was 0.2 over.
Yeah, 2.3.
So it's gonna be an exciting fight, man. I really think it could become the styles. Don't know much about Tyrone, but hey, it comes down if he can stop the takedown of Josh. So it could come into that, and we could see some nasty ground and pound, or we could see these big guys slinging it out on the feet. You never know.
Mackey's dad is he a politician here?
Yeah,
or
I think he's a city
Chattanooga?
councilman.
City councilman. Okay, so we could have an interesting group of fans there.
All right.
Some dignitaries at the event. So. I would say here, today my notifications again in between every Trevor Peak sale. The Josh Mackey people have been coming out today and popping some sales up, so it might be suit and ties tomorrow.
Yeah,
all right.
Man, not to say that the prelims were not good, but starting right here, we have some crazy fights coming up. Starting out, we have lightweights, 155 pounds. Carrington Johnson, 1-1 out of Stryker Fight Center in Kennesaw, Georgia, taking on Anthony Bryant, 1-1 out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Tim, both these guys are 1-1, but man.
Yeah, this is a fight that we've tried to make a couple times before, and both sides have had to withdraw from be it COVID or a car accident on Carrington's part, but we're finally going to make it happen. And you see these guys face off, it's going to be fireworks. Like Justin said, only 1-1, but these guys are both known to be gamers. That they've both fought very tough competition. This fight will be my opinion, a sleeper for fight of the night. It's flying under the radar, but I can't see it not delivering, honestly. Both these guys are going to go for it. Very accurate striking. I think both of them will ultimately want to keep it on the feet. And I wouldn't be surprised if we go all 3 rounds on this one, honestly. But also at the same time, I won't be surprised if we get a knockout either.
Yeah. I'm really excited for this fight. This is one of my favorite fights tonight. I got a lot of favorites on here.
I think you're going to say that probably.
Yeah, I'm probably going to say that a lot.
In
Yeah.
the words of Carrington Johnson at the face-offs, he looked Anthony right in his face, right in his grill, and just looked and said, we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty intense. You go back and watch the weigh-ins, I really enjoyed that right there.
And Carrington, if anybody, taking notice, like Carrington, his last fight had a head kick knockout for NFC, like, 2-3 months ago. So, the man is a really good striker. We seen what happened. He fought, I think, Montreal Kirby. Oh yeah, obviously the Emilio fight.
Yeah.
To me, that game, even though he came up short, he gained a lot of respect from me. Yes, took down Emilio. And most of the time when Emilio takes somebody down, he subs them. Carrington was able to get out of that, get back on the feet, and then take him down. That was. I'm really excited for this fight. Anthony is. He's been fighting for a long time. Just don't have as many fights on the resume necessarily.
But he's got some kickboxing.
He got some kickboxing. Yes. But he's been fighting for a long time. Trained with a lot of different guys, formerly from American Hillbillies. Now here with us. I'm excited for that fight. I'm really excited for that one. So.
That's gonna be a scrap right there. Next up, also a scrap. Featherweights, 145 pounds. Eric Lewis, 3-5, independent out of Huntsville, Alabama, taking on Tristan Kelly, 2-3 out of High Stand in Dalton, Georgia. Greg, you've trained with Tristan a little bit, I think?
Yeah, Tristan kind of brought him into the game right here. Knew him from high school. He wrestled at Cahulla Creek right there and was a state contender, but got kicked out of school right there in his senior year for some stupid shit that he did, and has grown since then. Now he's in here making weight, doing what he's got to do. And Tristan Kelly, it doesn't matter when he fights, but when he does, you're in for a real treat.
Fight of the night last time.
Every night he steps up, he is looking. He's either, and it's not like he's not one of those kill or be killed. He is like, I'm going to try to kill you, and that's just how it's going to go the whole time. Even when he's tired, you can tell him jump. You can see him jump. You can see him do anything. He goes for the kill the whole time. This one right here is almost worth the value of buying it at pay-per-view. If you haven't made your arrangements, go ahead and look up any YouTube fight of Tristan Kelly you can. Watch him fight. His opponent right now, Eric Lewis, 3-5. Has got 8. He's an independent from Huntsville. I've never seen a fighter from Alabama come in here, period, and not swing for the fences to try to make a finish and come in here and try to make a statement. Every time somebody from Alabama comes up to Tennessee, they try to make a statement. And he's fighting Tristan Kelly this time. Somebody's going to make a statement right here. And I don't know where. Tristan's the type of guy that you could match him up with just about anybody right here. But listen right here, what's on Eric Lewis? Has he got some 3 finishes, or do we have him?
He had 1 decision over Keon.
But 2 finishes though?
In the underground.
No, he had 2 decisions. It was Lozano.
Zack Lozano.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to say, while you were talking about him being an independent, he's only an independent because he's in a transition right now, just leaving a gym and transitioning to another. So it's not like he has not
trained.
And he's boys with Justin Jamar, so those guys are getting it.
Only in the transition right now is he an independent.
3-5 right here, man. I'm waiting to see. It's an even matchup here with Tristan Kelly, and like we said, this one's going to bring energy, excitement. Last time we had him here, everybody was standing.
Tristan's just got a zombie effect.
Yeah,
exactly. He's got zombie mode.
This will be one of the more entertaining fights of the night. I'm not saying sleeper for fight of the night, but I'm saying this is going to be one of the most entertaining right here, because even at their weigh-ins, that was pretty heated too. The noses, that was pretty tough right there, man.
But we talk, we're here, and the reason why we're doing this is we're talking about weigh-ins because we just did them the first time we've done a show. But let's talk. Tristan, to me, I'll just be honest, looked like the weight cut was a little hard for him.
Yeah.
He was hurt.
He didn't know what he was. Once he actually made weight, he was asking for water, he was asking for this, and then it come time to fill out paperwork, he was confused on what day it was.
His voice was, real raspy, and
But that's not uncommon for him during a weight cut. We see that from him every time.
We had to get the towel out. So I don't know. I'm not saying it will, but maybe that's a factor at some point.
It can play a big part.
But the fact that the guy probably dies once in every fight already, I'm not going to count too much into it.
That's true.
All right, next up we have bantamweights, 135 pounds. Cody Ortiz, 1-1 out of Striker Fight Center in Kennesaw, Georgia, taking on Brevin Sullivan, 2-0 out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga. Jeff, we've seen both these guys several times What do you think we should look forward to here?
I mean, I took this one when we were divvying up these fights just because my little shithead kid, for some reason, he's got two favorite fighters, and
Is it these two?
No, but it's Zane Burton, who I like to Zane's kid friendly.
Yeah.
You know, I was telling him he's right out the window here acting a fool. And Brevin Sullivan.
Oh, wow.
And Zane Burton are my son's two
They're all
favorite
kid-friendly.
fighters.
Riven maybe not so good.
But
He's trying.
if you know my son, Brevon's right up his alley.
Right.
They both talk the same. The language is probably about the same. So, you know, listen, Brevin is, we all know what Brevin is. Brevin's brash. Brevin is in your face. And it's just the way it's going to be until someone shuts him up. Which in my world, you can do it until someone shuts you up. So right now, he's got full reign to be whoever he wants to be. Cody Ortiz is a tough dude. Both guys, 2 amateur fights under the belt. Cody's 1-1, Brevin's 2-0. I think this is a really evenly matched fight. Cody's loss was
Vincent,
right? Who we're going to talk about,
fight.
right? Who we're going to talk about later. So his loss is not against a bum by any means whatsoever. So you know, because if Vincent ever wants to fight at 135, Vincent and Brevin would be a hell of a fight that I know you've wanted to put together. If Vincent is so that is not a slouch to lose to. So again, we will look like idiots by saying this could be fight of the night. This could be sleeper fight of the night because we're going to have about 20 sleeper fight of the nights. This is probably one of Torres's favorite fights of the night. But that just shows you where we're at in this card now, where everyone we're probably going to say that, and this is one of those. Brevin, I will say too, Brevin is my man on this fight because he has sold more tickets to this show than he has any of his other shows. So, it does also show though that whatever it is he's doing, he is gaining a following slowly but surely. He's getting people on the Brevin train. So definitely proud of the effort he put into marketing this show this time.
Yeah, as long as you keep winning fights, it's easy to keep people to keep coming.
Do whatever the hell you want if you
Right.
can.
Next up, we have a catchweight, 220 pounds, Josh Sleussler, 0-1, independent out of Maryville, Tennessee, taking on Hank Peppers, 1-0 out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Tim, we saw Josh not too long ago. Hank, it's been a little bit longer.
Yeah, man. Hank it's been quite a while since Hank has competed. He is a high school basketball coach, teacher, so you know he's got a lot of irons in the fire. But sounds like he got a wild hair. Decided he want to get in here with his teammates and go to war with everybody. So I'm excited. He's a big dude at 220, man. Like he is a very broad-chested dude. Yeah,
Big bones.
yeah. So you know, I think that Hank is going to be pretty well-rounded. We know he can strike. We know he can grapple. He's been training for a long time. Just hasn't been so active competing with life and whatnot. So Josh Sleussler's a guy that we saw for the first time. I think it was on Aries 2. He lost to Tristan Scarborough, but actually had, in my opinion, a pretty decent account of himself up to the end there. Has gotten some training in with American Top Team down in Coconut Creek before he moved up here to Tennessee. And so he'll be an independent for this one in particular. But Sleussler's a guy. He's helped us on the cage and things like that. He's a real good dude and tough dude. So I think both these guys are going to go down, throw some heavy leather, and I don't think this one will go 3 rounds. I think somebody will get knocked out.
It's gonna be.
And it's like you look at our card. It's like we've got 2 live action Here Comes the Boom movies right here. You got Hank Peppers, a basketball coach. What's a school? Where's he
Lafayette,
at?
Georgia.
Lafayette.
Yeah, Lafayette, Georgia. And you got later on in this show, you've got Zack Hicks, high school history teacher, I believe. You know, in Nashville, Tennessee. So we got, you know, we could have we have a more younger crowd in there. I guarantee you that the kids are coming out. The students have got to be coming out tomorrow night for Hank, and that's going to be
Yeah, the students
that's
definitely
gonna be
be coming
cool.
to Hank,
That's
man.
gonna
Hank is big for that basketball team. Lafayette basketball has been having some of their best seasons ever since becoming head coach. Consistently in the Elite Eight, consistently sometimes in the Final Four.
And I think this is going to be that opportunity now. He's always there for the kids. I got a feeling the kids are going to be here for him.
Yeah.
I agree.
So-
And I see that it says he's 1-0 on the MMA, but I think he's 3-0 MMA.
Oh, wow, is he?
Because he actually fought for a previous
circle that.
promotion, and it's on YouTube, and he got a guillotine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was unsanctioned. That's the only thing I think.
Y'all
possible.
matched it.
Huh?
Y'all matched it.
Really? Maybe it still might have been unsanctioned.
Yeah.
Because it's not listed.
No.
Maybe somebody just didn't turn the results.
Yeah.
And again, they weren't really doing reporting back in the '80s or whatever.
Damn.
That's a jab at
We love you, Hank.
That was like 2000.
That's a jab at Hank, not me. Right?
It's like 8 years ago.
All right, guys. Next up, opposite end of the spectrum, we have flyweights, 125 pounds. Vicious Vincent Van Alstyne, 2-0 out of Hobbs Jackson Lincoln, Concord, North Carolina, taking on Bryce Warner, 1-0 out of Team Wildside in Clarksville, Tennessee. Tim, this is mine.
Justin?
This one's mine.
Yeah.
So Bryce, yeah, I know, right? So Bryce made his debut on the last card that I fought on. He took on a guy who was, brought the crowd. He brought tons and tons of people. Bryce, I think he took it on short notice.
Week's notice.
1 week.
Yeah, 1 week's
Yeah,
notice.
so
too.
Bryce took this on 1 week's notice, beats the guy, pretty handily, I think.
Drops a nice promo.
Yeah, drops a nice promo, and puts himself into what I believe is probably it's
a contender.
It's a contender fight. Vincent is 2-0. This is his first time at 25, but he's got a couple wins at 30 or 35. This is gonna be a hell of a fight, man. Both guys have really, really good wrestling. I don't know, man. It's probably gonna come down to the striking, I would imagine. The wrestling's gonna be pretty nullified, I would imagine, between both of them. So I would look for a wild stand-up affair in this one. But this is gonna be a hell of a fight. I would definitely be on the lookout for this.
It could win Fight of the Night.
Definitely
It
could.
could.
Definitely.
One of Torres' favorite
This is
fights.
actually
That's my favorite live
my
band.
next one. Yeah, this is actually another one of my favorites because I do remember calling. I am going to be on the call with Dustin Bailey, and that was the first time. And me and was on there, and we did our little prediction and our picks and stuff. And I thought Jamie Lloyd, weeks notice. I said, okay, he's gonna handle this guy. And that boy came out there and looked incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, he looked like he ain't missed a beat.
Mm-hmm.
So when I seen that he's fighting Vincent, I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
like, that's gonna be a really good
And I'll
fight.
tell you the truth, too. Bryce has been honest. Like, he has won it on the last 3 cards. Like, he is like,
he's a man.
I want to fight, I want to fight, I want to fight, I want to fight. And then he's like, after he's like, now go ask my coach. He's like, he wants to fight. And he was impressive, man. Like you said, short notice came in there
He looked good.
and looked well beyond, at that time, a debut.
Yeah,
You know? It was sneaky wrestling. It's
It
like,
was.
maybe it wasn't a state champion, caliber wrestle, but it was so solid, man. It was so solid.
I mean,
And jiu-jitsu looked really solid
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
He was moving his
Well,
transition.
Mike Merriman up in Clarksville, Tennessee, and a lot of times I don't think a lot of people give Mike and that gym the credit because it's outside of Nashville. It's a smaller gym, smaller venue or building and things like that. But you got to remember, this is also old Chris Coggins came from there, Corey Alexander, and Nate the Train
Nate the
Landwehr,
Train.
who's still when he's at home and in between fights is training
Yep.
there with these guys. So a lot of solid shit going on at Wildside.
yeah, man, this is again like it's a number 1 contender fight. So
For a reason.
at 125 pounds, the division is pretty shallow. Even as pros, both these guys could probably compete at the lower end, lower spectrum of the pros, and you have them here as amateurs. The 11th bout of the night, so that's a treat. Next up, we have welterweights, 170 pounds. Cameron Tompkins, 1-0 out of Phoenix MMA in Hermitage, Tennessee, taking on Lucas Cox, 2-0 out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Tim, we've seen Lucas before.
Yep.
I don't know that I've seen. Well, we definitely haven't seen Cameron before out of Phoenix MMA, right?
Yeah, Jeff has. He fought on the Warriors Den show, and back in there was like a storm or something, and was it
The tornadoes, the bad tornadoes that came through last year through Tennessee and Middle Tennessee. It was an outdoor show, and I was judging or timekeeping on that show, and so I did get a chance to see him. And just for the record, it was the funnest show I've ever been because it was an outdoor show in October.
Oh,
And
condensation
so
is
the
effective.
dew and condensation at night when set in, and it was a vinyl cage, not a canvas. So the fact that you made it through that fight, had no traction under your feet whatsoever. But the guy was relentless, man. He was relentless, and I'm stealing our thunder here.
No, yeah. I watched that fight for the first time last night, actually. So I watched Cameron Tompkins. He beat another debut guy. Really dominated him. He took him down at will. Got to mount over and over. I think he got him out there in the 2nd or 3rd round. I thought that he looked good. He looked sharp. Trained with Corey Robeson there at Phoenix MMA, a great jiu-jitsu guy. So his grappling looked solid. Well, standing in front of him this time than what he saw at the Warriors Did show at Lucas Cox, though. Lucas Cox, former Marine, just gritty, tough, already 2-0, coming off a big win at Aries 4, I think. But before that, his debut was an even tougher fight than that at the Underground, taking on an undefeated JT Van Meter. Okay, he was a debut, but a very, very tough debut, and Lucas handled that guy and really kind of turned my head that night because he showed a lot of toughness and grittiness.
Blood everywhere.
Yeah, blood everywhere. Just a warrior. So I think that for Tompkins, he's going to get to really show what he's about here with an opponent that is going to push him much further than he got pushed in that first fight. I'm excited to see what happens, man. Somebody's O's got to go, obviously, and it'll be interesting to see. If Lucas climbs to 3-0, then he starts putting himself in that conversation there for Dustin Bailey's title. If Tompkins wins, moves to 2-0, then he finds himself most likely in a contender fight here. Coming up against another top-ranked guy.
All right, next up we have the main card kicking off. We have title fights. First off, we have 135-pound bantamweight fight. Earl McKinney, 4-1 out of Stryker Fight Center in Kennesaw, Georgia, taking on El Chino Joe Winters, 4-2 and 1 no contest out of ATT Atlanta, Georgia. Torres, you probably trained with both these guys a little bit, I would imagine. You probably are familiar with them.
I've never had the opportunity to train with them, but I've trained with a little bit with Moon, and he probably trained with a few of those guys before. But man, I've seen a lot of Joel Winters fights.
Yeah.
Obviously, he fought for Aries. Seen him fight a few times for NFC. And I've seen Earl McKinney the first time on the last card for Macon.
Co-pro, yeah.
So I'm really excited for this fight because it is the two stylistic matchups. You got Joel Winters, mainly grappling, and man, if anybody's seen his last fight, I mean, his wrestling looked that much better. He had one of these guys in his corner, and I can't really think of his name, but he used to be a former wrestler. He was in a Hall of Fame, Georgia Wrestling Hall of Fame. And
he's got an outstanding
he's
sense
a
of style.
wrestler.
He's got an outstanding sense of style.
Yes, he does. He does have you know it when you see him.
You should be embarrassed.
I
He's a
should be
wrestler
embarrassed.
from
And he's from Georgia.
Yeah.
But all I know is Joel has been training with him, and without a shadow of a doubt, Joel Wrestling has been looking incredible.
Yeah, look, there's Atlanta compound, right?
Yes, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Really good.
Sorry, guys.
And Joel 10-8 his guy from every single judge in every single round. I've never seen that a day in my life.
Yeah.
10-8 from every judge in every round.
That's about the upstate guy too.
Yes, against an upstate karate guy, very tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
But Earl McKinney, man, I mean, he just coming off a loss against Malcolm Wellmaker, a very top tier fighter out of Malcolm Wellmaker. So there's no slouch to that. But Earl McKinney coming in, I think he has 3 finishes. Cliff Fretwell. That's right, Cliff Fretwell, man. Yes, incredible wrestler.
Shout out to Cliff Fretwell.
Yes, and he's been in the corner of Joel, and you can obviously see Joel's wrestling look that much better. But Earl, man, I think he got 3 finishes, 1 decision, and Earl has got really good striking. And I think the objective of Earl is to keep this fight on the feet against Joel. It would be interesting to see more striking from Joel. We don't really see him stand up too much. I see him throw a few kicks here and there, but he's more of a grappling base. But if you see a lot with Joel, when he takes guys down, he doesn't necessarily always finish them. He's more to the decision. So it'll be interesting because it's 5 rounds.
5 rounds.
Can Joel do that for 5 straight rounds, or will he eventually finish them, or will Earl eventually neutralize some of those takedowns and keep it on the feet? I'm excited for this fight. This is really good
Joel's
fight.
wanted this title though for a while. He has been chasing Tim for any possible opponent to get him this title. And if it is somebody like at one point was in the mix or being talked about for the title, that's who Joel
That's who he wanted, yeah.
And if something happened in the cage and someone else won a fight and now they took that spot, then that's who Joel wanted. And he's called you every time someone else has gotten in the mix saying that's the guy, and it's only the guy because that's the guy that's going to give me this title. He's chased this belt. He's wanted this belt bad.
one of them was Briven, right?
He's wanted Briven for a long time. We've got to figure if
They squared off twice now.
if he comes out of this one with the title and Briven wins his to go to 3-0, who knows? Maybe we can make that work.
It's been talked about, man. It's all right.
But I'm telling you right now, there's so many that we've had so many people in this 135 division that we thought were going to be here in this fight, and just circumstance didn't let them. I'm telling you right now, Emilio Hernandez wants it. He's waiting to see these, and we actually tried to get him on the May card. Because he wants this belt. So we've got 3 or 4 135ers that are waiting just for their turn to get a shot in here.
Those guys haven't even fought in Aries yet. Chasing Camp Skillbride. They're different guys at 135. They're just not surfacing.
As soon as we find them. As soon as he
Chance Skillbride,
as soon as the right person sees the milk carton and sees his picture on it and recognizes them. But Joel, to me though, it has nothing to do with Briven. If Briven was just going to be the guy in the mix, then that's why I wanted Briven, because I want to get to the belt.
They don't like each other.
No, it's legit.
But I'm sure the line is not short.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They don't like it.
Except my son. He's at the very back of the line for some fucking reason.
Yeah, that's a hell of a fight. I didn't realize, I didn't even catch that one earlier. I mean, I know how good Joel is, and
it is now
Earl McKinney
your
is
favorite fight on the card.
It's probably my favorite fight of the night.
Right?
Yeah. Probably sleeper fight of the night. And my favorite fight of the night. Next up, we have another title fight, 155-pound lightweight title for the vacant Aries 155 title. The sniper, Justin Jamar, 6-1. He's an independent out of Huntsville, Alabama. Taking on Craig French, 3-1 out of Agoge Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This is going to be a fucking war, Greg. What do you think?
Before Greg starts, though, again, same Eric Lewis situation. Justin Jamar, independent, but again, because we're in transition. But one of his coaches from the gym that he's transitioned from is still here training him, guys. So or cornering him. So there's no drop off of not having a corner or independent.
Yeah, that confused me right there.
Yeah, I was wondering as well.
Just transition right now that's going on, but his corner is still intact from his previous gym.
Yeah. All right. So lightweight championship right here, and both worthy right here. Craig French, 3-1, former Marine right here. Guy will fight you tooth and nail. I met Craig French the first day he walked into Agoge, and kind of went through a fill-out process, and there was no, hey, I want to train jiu-jitsu, hey, I want to try to do some kickboxing, maybe learn something. He was a heavier guy, but just didn't know that when you got hit, you're supposed to slow down and stop. And he never did, and he just kept taking. This guy's bled the most in the gym. He's put the most heart in the gym, and you can see him if you go back and look at his very first fight, his physique, and look at him now. He's fucking shredded. He's shredded. He's ripped like a potato chip. I'm telling you, man, he really is. Now in the other corner, you have the sniper right here, Justin Jamar. Has that nickname, the sniper, for one reason solid, because he's a very, very crisp. He's one of the crispiest fighters I've seen in the Southeast region right now. As far as amateurs goes. This guy happens to do a lot of controversial stuff because he is so good at what he does that he's able to make things look like they weren't illegal or they may have been illegal, but he gets away with it because that's his style. That is his style. So if you're not coming balls to the wall against Justin Jamar and getting ready for anything to be thrown at any kind of fucking angle, you may not walk out of here a winner. This is going to be a tale of two fights. This is going to be a yin-yang fight. If it goes to the ground, I can see Craig French, prevailing and doing a great deal of wrestle fucking. I can see it happening. However, you got to take Justin Jamar down. That boy's got some long limbs that reach out. He's like that old Street Fighter. What's his name?
Dawson.
He's a Street He does all that shit, and I'm telling you, this is going to be an entertaining fight. It's 5 rounds. It's not going the distance. It's not going the distance. I will say, because we give him hell every time. Every single time he weighs in, he doesn't make weight. But this time, Justin Jamar made weight.
He did.
And he is eligible for that title right here. We're not going to have any issues with that this time. And Justin Jamar's up for the title. Craig French is up for the title. We got a damn title fight right here.
Yep. And it potentially, you never know. This could be
fight of the night.
Could be fight of the night. Could be fight of the
He goes on 5 rounds. They granted at least something like that.
Justin Jamar, who again, as an amateur, has signed a management contract, and if he's 7-1 at that point,
if he wins, he could be his last.
We don't know how much longer he'll be around. But then again, Justin Jamar has made no bones about it. He likes collecting belts right now. He's collecting them in Alabama. He's coming up here now trying to collect this one. So. He said a lot of smart things on the podcast not too long ago that were well beyond what I thought his mentality would be,
Mhm.
you know, and he was very calculated in his plan right now, and he said, I gotta fight Craig French. I gotta fight guys like Craig French. I want nothing but title fights right now, and it wasn't necessarily belt collecting, but I want that caliber opponent right now before I go pro, so I know what I'm going to expect when I go pro.
For this to be that though, 5 of the night, I think we're gonna have to see Jamar in the trenches. You know, no pun intended with the Marine. We're gonna have to see that kind of fight right here, pulling into the 3rd round to bring out that heart of Justin Jamar, and that's what I want to see. I hope we get to see go into the 3rd round, but I don't know that it will.
So we saw Frenchie against Daniel Gonzalez, and we seen what he, you know, how he was still really active in that 3rd round. I mean, that jab. We talk about Justin Jamar being the sniper. I mean, that jab against Daniel Gonzalez,
But
that was a freaking
Gonzalez,
sniper.
Gonzalez had reached that point in the fight too, though, where he was letting the fight come to him.
That's right.
And that's where it's going to be that yin yang you talked about. Justin's not going to be standing back, letting the fight
he's
come
gonna
to
be
him.
walking forward,
There's going to be
right.
2 guys coming
Yeah, he's gonna
forward.
walk forward.
And,
Because I don't
you know,
see Craig backing up.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
see Craig
Craig don't back
backing
up
up.
and try-
the only move Justin's going to make is not backwards, it'll just be up because he's going to throw a
potentially
flying
right.
knee.
Yeah.
He's going to throw
And that's
something.
why he's able to do this stuff,
Yeah.
the flashy stuff that he does. He's I mean, he.
And this is not our main event. How about that?
No,
Right, I know,
Oh,
right?
it certainly could main event an
Right.
amateur show.
But that
all
shows you
day.
what kind of card this is. That this
Yeah.
is not our main event.
Well, to me, I think that the tangent, the biggest tangible here is going to be if Craig can extend Jamar into that 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, because we haven't seen Justin into those situations yet. Craig, we know, has an endless gas tank, and he's going to keep going as the fight goes on. He's going to keep getting stronger and stronger. We haven't seen Justin late in these fights to see what happens. So, you know, I don't know what the game plan is for Craig, but if I'm in his corner, I'm going to say, hey, let's extend this guy out. Let's see if we can drag him into deep
Slow
waters.
pace.
And everybody seen Justin Jamar last fight. It went to decision.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the. I think besides one of those kickboxing fights he had
with Tyler
against
Jones.
Tyler
Yeah.
Jones,
Yeah.
I think that was his first MMA decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
But
you
notice
know,
though, as the
that
fights
was
go
3 rounds.
longer, the crazier the shit he throws.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's so true.
tighter he gets,
Strategically out of control.
Yeah, he starts grabbing the kitchen sink and throwing
Yeah.
spinning back fist and
Yeah.
flying knee. Because,
He's-
I mean,
he might.
he's like the cartoon character that pulls shit out of a bag.
Keeps pulling it out.
Yeah, just keeps pulling shit out of the bag.
Yeah.
Try this. We'll try this. So,
Yeah.
man, we could talk about this fight for another 30 minutes.
Yeah, man. As a fan, Justin Jamar is one of the
Fan
top,
friendly.
Yeah.
one of the top guys around that you can find. But Craig French is no different. Craig
He's-
French is gonna bring the
He's
fucking
the one that's
fight.
trying to stop him too. That's
Yeah.
it.
Craig's coming to fight. He's not gonna slow down. This is gonna be a fucking war. Next up, we have our first pro bout of the night. Featherweights, 145 pounds. Fred Freeman, 3-3 out of St. Louis, Missouri, taking on Zack Hicks, 5-4 out of Nashville MMA in Nashville, Tennessee. Jeff, you know Zack pretty well, huh?
I know Zach, and you know, I know Fred from just dealing with him for this card and the research we had to do for it and looking at his background. Freeman, we talked about his buddy that came down with him, Sebastian Grant. He's obviously kind of in that same mold where he's coming from St. Louis. We're not real familiar with a lot of his local fights, but Fred Freeman has fought twice for Bellator. So while we don't know what he was getting into, or what was going on with his Missouri fights, we know what goes on at Bellator, and so we know what kind of high-level fights he fought. Baby Slice, Kimbo's son, for Bellator, and I think it was overseas. Was the Kimbo overseas? Was the Baby Slice fight overseas too, or was that the
Eric
American?
Chalmers was
Chalmers was
London.
overseas,
Yeah,
right?
London.
London. So the guy's well traveled. Obviously the Camp Jordan Arena is a bigger venue than the Joe, but the bright lights of the Camp Jordan Arena are nowhere compared to the bright lights that he's seen at Bellator. Do you want me to stop for a second, guys, or what?
Yeah.
You want me to
We're all good.
So he's definitely well traveled, well versed, and he's seen the highest level out there. Zack Hicks coming off over a year rehab on a major ACL injury that kept him out for a long time, but I don't think I've ever seen. He's posted up his entire therapy, his entire PT, physical training, getting ready for the fight. And I don't know that I've ever seen somebody work as hard, and not an NFL player work as work this hard on coming back from an injury because he wanted to fight again so bad. 5-4, 3-3. We got really close, kind of similar records right now. Zach is a grinder, but talking to some of Zach's training partners, Charlie Alexander, Alex Pregande from National MMA, they said that they've never seen a jump in, Zach like they have for this fight. Not being able to fight for over a year, he was lifting weights, so they was like, Zach is way stronger than he was before the injury because he had to be lifting weights. And you guys have had injuries before, well, if I can't do this, I'm going to do this.
Right.
So he's like, he's gotten so much stronger. His grappling and his submissions have gotten so much better because he's been having to stay off the leg, stay off the knee. So he was doing a lot more grappling at the time. So I'm real interested in see, how Zach looks after this long layoff. Zach is a little older.
History teacher.
High school history teacher, wrestling coach. But this is what Zach's told me is like, I don't want to be done yet. I want to make that one more push. And if I can stay healthy, I feel like this is the time to make my push to try to get to a bigger venue, a bigger fight. To make, when I do wrap this up, make a good story.
Right.
Make it all mean something. And so
as far as I could.
Yeah, absolutely. I pushed it as far as I could, and he knew Fred Freeman's going to be the type of opponent to get him to that next level show, the next level card, because he's got a lot of fights. He's got the big fights under his belt. Regardless, you hear people all the time, oh, I'm a veteran of this, I'm a veteran of that, and you hear people dog him. At the end of the day, that's what these guys want to say is, I beat that guy, and he made it to the big show, so now it's my turn. So why aren't you going to give me a shot?
What was the height advantage right there that Freeman had over him?
Freeman was to be about 3 inches.
Yeah, it was
only 3
significant. I mean, it looked, because he's so skinny, I think it looked aesthetically a lot taller. But he's definitely, and he keeps that head up too. He postures during the weigh-in, so he definitely looked a lot taller. But Zach's focused. Fred came a long way, man. 7 hours in a car overnight, so I've got to imagine, he's not in too good a mood right now, and he's resting up right now. But he doesn't want to go home with only half a paycheck because it's a long drive. He wants to go home with something to show for this trip, and I think he's going to test. I think he's going to test Zach. More than Zach's been tested in a while, and first of our 4 pro fights. I'm excited we got 4, and I think this is a hell of a weight. Odds. What we had
minus 250,
minus 250
and plus
on
200,
Zach, plus 200 on Fred. While to the average person that might seem like a big gap, it's not. It's not a pick 'em, but it's not a huge gap. So so the odds makers they definitely see a way for Fred to win this fight.
How important do you think is a finish for Zach?
I think it's important, but I think
The
he
win is
wants it
obviously-
so bad,
right.
though. He wants to finish so bad because he is a guy that he's like, I always go the distance, or I always go late in the fight, win or lose, but, it's never... He wants this bad, I think. He wants to finish more than I think he thinks he needs to finish. I think he wants it more than he knows that he needs it. But I know Zach wants on more of our cards, and he's heard about future cards that we've got close to his neck of the woods, and he's like, I want to do what I have to do so that you look at me for those bigger shows that you put on, or when those matchmakers, Tim, from those bigger shows call you and say, who do you got at 145 that would be a good fit, that you think of him.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important fight to him, for sure.
Another thing too, man, Zack Hicks is 5-4, doesn't look that great, but Zach's a very deceptive 5-4, I believe.
He's tough guys.
Yeah, and that Zach's a nightmare. If you get that matchup, you're in for a fucking nightmare. I think Fred's a great striker, but this is gonna be a hell of a fight. Another one of those clash of styles. Next up, we have middleweights, 185 pounds. DeWitt Dixon, 1-1 out of Matrix MMA in Greensboro, North Carolina, taking on Garrett Gross, 12-10 out of Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Torres, you've spent a good bit of time with Garrett for sure, right?
Yes, man. Me and Garrett are mainly training partners for the past few. Ever since he come here back to Agogi, he's moved now to Tennessee. And Garrett is an incredible talent, man. I mean, his experience really shows in the training room. I'm excited to see him fight. This is the first time I'll get a chance to see him fight live. I've watched a lot of his fights. Garrett's an incredible talent. I mean, he's a 4-stripe purple belt. The man got it on the feet. He got it on the ground. I'm excited to see how this fight really turns out, because I've watched a good bit of DeWitt. DeWitt, I mean, he's come from a boxing background. Football. Look like he's really explosive. Like he has power. I've seen a few of his fights. He got a few knockouts. He fought on Icon a fight. You know, he's tough. He's a really tough fighter. So even though it says 1-1, you know, going against a guy that's got 22 fights, and that's the crazy
Didn't
thing.
hesitate and didn't bat an
Never bat an eye.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And I mean, you look at that, like Garrett. If you include his amateur, Garrett is like 20-2 as an amateur. Garrett like has nearly 50 fights almost. Like that's nuts. Against a guy that's probably only got like
10.
Seven total.
6 total. I think he's
total.
4-0 and 1-1. Yeah.
Yeah. So 6 total fights. I mean, you would think the experience is crazy, but you'll be surprised. They're actually very close in age. I think DeWitt is like, what, 32?
Yeah, they're pretty similar in age.
And,
I think DeWitt doesn't have the miles on his body.
No, he
Potentially
doesn't.
Could be
No.
interesting.
Yeah, that could be. You know,
He
depending
looked like
on-
a freak athlete.
Yes.
What did you guys think how they sized up? Because when we were talking about this with Cody, we were like, well, you know, Garrett's made as far as 155. DeWitt's fought as high as heavyweight. Is he going to be way bigger than Garrett? What did you guys think about how they sized up?
I would say that DeWitt did look bigger than Garrett, but it didn't look like
Crazy.
It wasn't
Yeah.
just grotesque.
Yeah.
If somebody told you this
Yeah.
guy's a heavyweight and this guy fought at 155.
Yeah,
It wasn't-
I mean, you can, and I felt that. I mean, like you can tell, like Garrett gained some weight. You know, I remember when Garrett came here,
He's about
Chattanooga
215,
the first
210.
time.
Chattanooga's
Oh, the birthday, he's
been
like
good
150,
He was-
155,
Yeah, he
165.
fought
Yeah.
155, and then like he comes back, and I'm like, dude, this joker got some thighs on him now.
That's
like,
what I
good
said. What you
lord.
did? He was weighed about 208 the other day. I was like,
He's been
As our
eating.
boy Cody says, he takes his strength and conditioning
He
very
does.
seriously.
Yes, he does.
He does.
Yes, he does.
So I think, to me, this is one of the more interesting ones as well. I think Dixon comes in very confident. You can tell he's fought fairly high level as an amateur, but this is a massive step up from anything he's seen in Garrett. I was watching their fights last night on YouTube, just trying to do a little tape study, and Garrett has an undeniable grit to him. He does not stop. He can be in bad spots and is going to keep fighting out of it. I thought he got taken down a little easier than what I expected against some of these guys, but even when he's down, he's creating scrambles. He's either going for a sub or he's getting up, and then he will throw heat in the pocket and not back down an inch. Dixon has shown pretty decent takedowns. So I don't know that he's got a wrestling background so much, but I've seen him hit some decent takedowns in some of his fights. He's obviously got power, confidence, and he's coming in here, nothing to lose, man. If he knocks off, you got to figure, if Garrett knocks off DeWitt Dixon, he's knocked off a one-on-one guy. It's another fight. Chalk it up, move on. DeWitt knocks off Garrett Gross. That's a pretty big win for him in his third fight.
It is, and I will be really excited to see how that goes if he does knock off Garrett.
Gross being also Contender Series vet, Bellator vet, very well traveled, fought guys like Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, I know, right? I'm about to say he's fighting
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow night. Yeah, so he'll fight a lot of tough guys, man. Garrett has been in there with a lot of tough guys. I mean, he trained with Tyrone Woodley, Dustin Poirier. I mean, been in their camps like
Torres fan.
I mean, he was in their camps like when they were getting ready to train for world titles. So Garrett done about seen it all, and I'm excited for this fight. It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be good.
Odds on that one, minus 175 for Garrett, plus 150 for Dixon, and the total is 1.5 on this one, with the plus over 1.5 being juiced up to plus 120. But Jeff mentioned on our preview with Cody, that feels like a pretty decent bet, because I don't know that either one of these guys is going to be able to go in there in the first round and just run through the other guy. I think this may be drag
Well,
in
they're
the
going to
second
get
round.
just enough of resistance.
Jeff,
Just enough resistance to hold the fight on.
To me, from what I've seen, I think it's going to come down to cardio. Honestly. Yes, they both got power. Yes, I feel like DeWitt is dangerous at any point. But I do feel like this will come down a little bit to the cardio aspect.
What kind of pace Garrett's
this fight.
keeping, and
If it's
DeWitt
a
keep up
Dixon
with it.
pace, to where he's a little bit back, pressure more on the cage, keeping him tight, it'll be really interesting. That's more of a Dixon pace, where Garrett just constantly
Yeah,
just
frantic.
always, moving. So it'll be interesting.
Let's talk about our co-main in Maine, man. Let's do it.
All right,
Let's
next up we have
go.
the co-main event. Pro #1 contender bout at 155 pounds. Will Money Banks 3-2 out of ATT in Valdesto, Georgia, taking on Pat Crumpton 4-1 out of Nashville MMA in Nashville, Tennessee. We're gonna go to everybody on this one. Hobbs, we'll start with
Shit,
you.
let's just talk about it.
Yeah,
we don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
have to take
Yeah,
turns.
yeah. We'll just hash it out
Shit,
here.
man. Money Banks. I mean, Pat's
Pick 'em.
a good, for wrestling, like you said, action 24/7, pick 'em. straight across the board, minus 110 on everything. Minus 110 on Banks, minus 110 on Crumpton, minus 110 on the over, minus 110 on the under.
Wow.
Straight up, they're flipping a coin.
Yeah.
They don't know who the hell's going to win. And the more we keep talking about it, I don't know either. I can't make a damn guess. And I was excited because I'm a Pat Crumpton fan because he's from my neck of the woods and I've known him for a long time. But then we talked to damn Money Banks and I'm thinking, damn, I like this guy too. You know, his energy, guys, if you watch the podcast, was so, at this face-off, man, he's clapping in his face and he's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And he's begging just straight-laced, straight-faced Pat Crumpton who shows no emotion. He's trying to get Pat hyped up and it's not working, but it doesn't deter Banks. He's still going to get hyped and he danced all the way to the tail of the tape photos, you know, and skipped all the way. So Jesus Christ, guys, this one is going to be good. This one's going to be good.
Excited.
Looking at it from a stylistic perspective, I feel like these guys both kind of want to do the same thing. You know, both guys are kind of grapplers, grinders. I think they're both purple belts, if I'm not mistaken. You know, Pat has been used to being able to get guys up against the cage, get his takedown, and then submit them to ground and pound from there. Banks is not going to go down easy, and he wants to do the exact same thing, really, to Pat as Pat wants to do to him. To me, I think that a lot of this is going to come down to the striking, which we haven't seen a whole lot of the striking from either guys. And if the wrestling nullifies and we get a striking battle, then it becomes at cardio pace, game plan, things like that. Will had mentioned in our interview with him that his 2 losses as a pro had come because of anxiety, and he just had some issues up here that he had to sort out, and he saw a sports psychiatrist, got those issues ironed out coming off of a win just in March. He just fought a few weeks ago. So he took this fight on 2 weeks' notice. So it is short notice, but with him just fighting a month ago, you know, he's in shape. He's obviously in shape looking at the guy. Crumpton, on the other hand, off a win over Dreon Martin, he moved to 4-1. He's got a bit of a streak going here. Again, he's been able to kind of do what he wants with guys. It'll be very interesting to see once, you know, the resistance here, who pushes what pace and who fades first. Boy, this is a fight that if I had to put my money on something, it'd be on the over 2.5. I think we're in the
And
ball.
Banks, what about Banks just goating them at the weigh-ins, asking them, you know,
You
when you
gotta
shoot,
shoot first,
you
you
shooting
gotta
first,
right,
when
yeah.
you shooting.
He's asking
You
it.
know, you know, just telling them,
Hey.
basically like, I got your game plan, I know, just tell me, when's it going to happen, how many minutes, you know, kind of thing.
That's the thing, man. I'm
And
excited.
goating them.
I'm excited for this because I just saw a little bit of Will Banks. You know, he came here to the gym, came to our competition Friday class, and he was down there rolling.
Good.
When you're talking about energy, yes, that man, he was down there rolling. You know, we playing music as well while we're rolling. He's singing along with the songs. He's rapping. He's ready to go. He's hitting the mat. Like, I was like, oh man, this man excited. Let's go. And I was like, this man fights tomorrow. So he's prepared. I'm excited to see him tomorrow against Pat. I know what Pat brings to the table. Pat's a tough son gun, man. He keeps walking forward. He's going to try to take him down, beat him up on the ground, submit him. This is, yes, obviously, potentially. This is a really good call. I was already telling
What's the end
Tim.
of the card? So I'm saying this is officially my favorite fight of the night.
I already telling Tim, man, to have this many fights on a card, and from the beginning, 'cause, I mean, you know, when y'all sent the card out, and that was like what 5-6 weeks ago, and not a single. We've had a few fall, but. But the premier ones, the ones we were really excited for, we know they didn't fall out, and we're like, whoa, like, that's like this is a banger, man. I'm excited for this card. I really am.
Greg, wrap us up. What
I
you
was going to
think?
say, you're a wrestler, Greg.
You got
I've
a
seen
story.
that.
Yeah, which wrestler you going with?
Which wrestler you going with?
I don't know, man. It's 3-2 versus 4-1. Pat Crumpton, Will Banks, man. The analysis has already been laid out there. You guys have said everything that's been said. I just, like you said, it's a toss-up. I don't know who's going to win. I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't know. I'm
Don't bet the trailer either way.
I'm not betting the trailer either way. I'm not betting a lot on this fight at all. Nowhere near betting any money on this fight. But I'm excited to see Will Banks step up here on a short notice fight against a killer like Crumpton right here.
And you know, I talked to training partners, and the thing was, we've talked about, you know, we know what Pat does and he does well. Does he have a plan B? If plan A doesn't work, and what his training partners, you know, while I was waiting on you guys to get here, you know, was talking to him. They said the thing is though, he won't give up on plan B or plan A. Plan A is like, and that's and it's a relentless not giving up, not a desperate not giving up, a relentless not giving up. I didn't get you down. Fuck you, I'm going to keep trying until I get you down. And when you think you have stuffed my shot or sprawled enough times that I'm going to quit doing it, I'm not. I'm going to keep coming until I wear you out from trying to stop me from taking that. So they look at it like even if Plan A isn't working, he will stick with Plan A until it does work.
One thing I noticed about Banks watching his fight on YouTube is his pro debut against a guy named Reggie Mack. This Reggie Mack guy is a stud. Just so top heavy, great wrestling. He took Banks down just over and over and over and over. But one thing I was impressed about Banks, he never just accepted it. He never settled there and just ended the round there. He was always trying to force a scramble, always trying to get up. I think it'll come down to if Pat can get these takedowns, does he have that top pressure and top control to hold a guy down that is not going to stop squirming to get up?
And we talked on the podcast with Cody again about another point is Pat's not a one-trick pony. It's not just wrestling. His jiu-jitsu is so good, though, that hopefully if he's getting resistance, though, that he puts himself in positions to where he can do that quick transition from wrestling to jiu-jitsu and see those openings because he's that good at jiu-jitsu, too, though, that he's not just going to be a wrestler. He sees those openings, and he can take them. So, again, another exciting aspect of this fight.
He's also, speaking from experience, he can fucking throw too.
But how do you know?
May have caught a couple of them. Yeah, I mean, Pat's definitely not known for his striking, and he's, I'm not gonna say he's the most technical striker in the world, but he's gonna come in there and try to fucking take your head off. Period. Yeah. Next up, we have the main event, welterweights for the title. Aries welterweight title, 170 pounds. The Venom Assassin Warren Smith, 8-13 from Striker Fight Center in Kennesaw, Georgia, taking on Trevor Peak. He's the champion, 4-0, Agogi Combatives in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Greg, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, I've got experience with both of these guys right here. Lost to both of them. Never saw a win bonus between either one of them. But with that being said, right here, I just the analysis right here for this fight alone right here. I mean, Venom Assassin's coming off how many wins, but he's on a roll. I mean, he got a win over me. One win.
And that's huge.
It's huge. I mean, that's the biggest shit you've ever heard of. But then Trevor also, beat me in Miami rings right now. We're now teammates and stuff. But like this fight right here is a clash right here. I'd say that Warren Smith he's just a rock. He really is. He's tough. He's solid. His record doesn't say what kind of fighter he is. Cause
he only goes and fights the toughest guy.
He does. He only fights tough guys. So when he wins, he has is a solid win. Yeah. And then he lost and he has a solid loss. So that's the way you got to look at it right here. But when I said that Warren Smith is a rock, I got to say he probably fell from that mountain of Trevor Peak up there, Sam Mountain down there in Alabama, because that dude right now, 4-0. Is coming for blood. I seen his little shirt that he got, wanted 100,000, dead or alive or whatnot. This fight right here, it's not hard to sell. I mean, Warren's coming off of this hype train. Trevor's been on this hype train through his whole career right here, and I see big things for this kid in his future. And I mean, Warren Smith's got to get some kind of call from one of these platforms one day because he's fighting the toughest of the toughest around these regional scenes. I mean, they're going to have to give him a call eventually and let him go up there and make some money because the kid deserves it. I mean, definitely deserves it.
Warren don't turn down nothing but his collar.
Doesn't turn down nothing but his collar.
He's in there against tough guys always. Obviously, it doesn't always go his way, but you're not going to get him out of there easy typically. And it seems like even coming off this last win, that kind of got a little fire lit under him, a little resurgence of sorts.
He's got twice as many wins as Trevor's got fights right now. Wins on here. I mean, he's got a lot of experience right here against a 4-0 young Trevor Peak. We see big things for Trevor. That hype train can get derailed tomorrow. If Warren Smith is able to plant one on the button, because there's no real Superman. Trevor's close, but I mean he's not unbeatable.
Right.
This is a fun fight in so many ways because Warren is going to come in there to throw, and if anybody's seen a Trevor Peak fight, he's going to throw. And I think this is going to be interesting. I think if the fight ever does get to the ground, Trevor has been working a lot of grappling, and it's different. It's different for him, and he's getting better in that aspect. And I looked at the weigh-ins today. I mean, good Lord. I mean,
but he doesn't want to do it. He wants to knock somebody out.
Yes, he don't want to go to the ground. If you could have said right there,
he could be a black belt.
You can
when
ask
he
him
gets in there. He forget he's a black belt.
Forget he's a black belt. No question.
Yeah.
Y'all could have brought gloves
Very Justin
and
Gaethje.
said y'all gonna fight right here, right after this face off, and Trevor would have been ready to go in.
Yeah.
That is how ready he was to go. But I will say, Warren has looked the best I've ever seen him look out of like all the, because I've seen him
I
fight
think
big
life's
time.
good right now for Warren. He
Yeah,
just got
he
married.
just got married
His
last
wife's
week.
fixing to have a baby.
That's awesome.
Life's going good right
Congratulations.
now for Warren, and and you can see it in his pep and his step and his attitude. He skipped
Yeah.
into weigh-ins. He was in traffic, which would piss anybody off because I hate traffic, and he walked in a good mood. You know what I'm saying? So I think life's good right now for Warren. But Tim has brought up a good point all week is one man's method to victory is exactly where the other guy wants you to be, and that's kind of what just makes this like a flinchy, like, oh my
Like,
god,
yeah,
when is this going to end?
fire on
Like,
fire.
so
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, Warren needs a knockout, and that's exactly what Trevor is inviting you in to come try to do. So it's like,
Yes,
you know, this is like Creed 2 where they're out in the desert. It's like these two just want to just put one foot in a tire and just say, keep that foot in the tire until someone quits or falls. That's,
Yeah.
that's how they're going to fight.
No, 3 rounds actually.
rounds,
It is
okay.
still the title's on the line.
Okay, 3 rounds.
It was a weird situation there because it was like Warren's coming off a big win. The record had me on the fence there. It's like, man, do we do a title fight on this? But then Trevor's like, man, I want to defend the belt. I want to defend the title, you know? So I was like, hey, let's put it up, man. You know, Warren
Trevor didn't care that he's
Trevor, yeah,
record.
exactly,
He was like, if
yeah.
I'm fighting, he's got a chance to win my belt.
Mhm.
If he's willing to fight me and he can beat me, then he deserves
He
to
deserves
win
to
the
be
belt.
belt.
So he wanted it to be a
Honorable,
title
that's
fight. Yeah, he wanted it to be a title fight for Warren.
I think it's like Jeff said, it's Warren's path to victory. His best option for victory will be given to him in this fight, most likely, if Trevor fights the way he typically fights. Like I said, who knows? He may take him down and show off some of his new ground skills. But I think at heart, Trevor wants to put on a show and he wants to bang. And it's not like, you know, not everybody's going to do that with Warren. You know, the typical game plan would be, hey, let's take this guy down, submit him, wrestle him, whatever. But Trevor's going to give him the kind of fight he needs to have a chance to win. And as such, the odds are minus 500 with plus 400 coming back on Warren. That's about spot on, honestly. There's no doubt that Trevor should be a decent favorite. But you still got to have some hesitation knowing that there is a rocket right hand
I think
coming.
so much of those odds, though, are because of Trevor's last fight and who he fought.
Yeah.
Who he fought and who he beat and that record of who he beat in his
Yeah.
last fight. I think a lot of those odds are based on that performance. And like we said back then, that performance, whoever comes out the winner, is going to reap the benefits of a lot of things, and that's why we see these odds the way they are.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've seen me on my phone all night during this podcast, it's because Trevor Pete keeps selling tickets, and I keep getting notifications. I'm probably going to get messages after midnight when Fighter Tix
When they close.
stops, and they're going to go, "What's wrong?" At 1 a.m. I can't buy a
Hey,
ticket. I can't buy a ticket.
Well, I can't buy a ticket.
Because they just keep coming through.
Trevor didn't come to your room.
Yeah,
Bang on that door. Hey man,
I got the tickets I need to
I don't know if
sell.
you know this, but I got an important fight tomorrow, and I'm trying to sell tickets.
I'm trying to come see number 1 pound mile truck plate.
Remember what happened for Tennessee? All right, guys. Hey, that's all the fights. Before we cut this off, we've talked about so many fight of the nights, but we're gonna get everybody's pick for their official.
Yeah. We're trying to go home.
Fight of the night, real quick, and we're gonna wrap this thing
No,
up.
we're gonna-
What is your
pick
fight of
one.
the night pick?
I gotta pee
You
hard.
gotta narrow it down
Torres.
to one. Torres, what's it gonna be?
This is, I'm about to say, y'all, alright, so I'm gonna go fight of the night. I'm going Carrington Johnson, Anthony Brown.
I like
Good
it.
one.
That was much
Greg?
faster than I thought.
I'm gonna go with the amateur fight. And it's his title fight. I'm gonna go with Craig French and Justin
I
Jamora.
like it, Justin.
I'm going with Sean Morgan and Curtis Bailey.
Hey, that should be
Ooh,
fine at the
hey, it
very
should be
least.
good.
Jeff, what you got?
I'm going Justin Watson and Corey. No, I'm just
All
kidding.
right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm going Will Banks, Pat Compton.
I like it. Hey, that leaves me the odd man out here, and I'm gonna go honestly. I'm gonna actually agree with Greg, and I'm gonna go with Justin Jamar, Craig French. Both these guys want it real bad.
Yeah.
You can tell these guys, neither one of them is going to fold up and lay down. You're gonna have to put a hurting on either guy to get them out of there. That's my pick, guys. We hope you can join us
Thank you,
tomorrow.
Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, by the way, to
Thank
Sarah
you so
behind
much.
the lens. April 16th, that's tomorrow, Saturday, Camp Jordan Arena, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Eastridge to be exact. Tickets only on sale till midnight tonight, which is Friday. I'm assuming we'll post this thing tonight. You can get them at fightertickswithannx.com. You can catch the pay-per-view at Spectation Sports. You can bet on it at action247.com. Use promo code Aries. You're going to get some more scratch to play with. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like it, subscribe it, thumbs up. Hit our social media, all that good shit. We'll see you tomorrow night at the fights, guys. And we can't wait. We'll be back next week. We'll recap this bad boy.
Boom, boom.